Hi everybody, this is A.R.S.E, the Random Thunder Explains. This is Fluffy, my other black cat. He's about for about 3 or 4 years old. He's a he's a cool cat. He's pretty chill, but he's not very talkative. Usually, like if you watch my other videos and you hear somebody meowing, that's my other cat, the younger one. You've seen the other videos, MK Ultra. So, anyways, this is gonna be a take 2 on my counter to the Many Worlds theory. Like I said, I went back through watched some of my earlier videos and they're pretty bad. So I want to go back through and try to tighten up my talking points. So my counter to the many worlds theory. So right now, when how it's explained is that when you measure the spin of an atom, which can only be done in a binary fashion, up or down, left or right, is that you create two realities, one where it went left and right, or one where it went up and down, so whichever way you measure it, you create two realities. My counter is that instead of creating two realities, you create one reality out of two possibilities. So like the atom, in its quantum state is spinning in every direction, I guess. And when you measure it, you isolate the one direction that it's going. Like I said, left or right, up or down. And so that's how light works also. I brought that up in the other video. Light works so much the same way I think reality works. There's a quantum state, which is like all light is every light before you look at it, that it becomes the light or the color that you see when you look at it. And the thing about light is that those photons collapse to that color all the way back to its source instantaneously when you look at it, meaning that like the quantum entanglement might not be, well, it is the explanation for when you split an atom and whatever you do to one atom, the other atom responds instantaneously, across time or distance. But like I said, light works much the same way. When you look at the light source of a star, no matter how far away it is, that light beam collapses all the way back to its source at that moment across time, across those billions or millions of light years. It happens instantly. And, like I said, I think reality works the same way. In the quantum state, there's every possibility, but in reality, there's just the one that exists, the one reality, that we have, that we seem to be sharing and observing together along this arrow of time. I'm not going to cover the arrow of time, I'll do that in another video. But that's basically how physicists explain time. It just is what it is. We experience time in one direction, and that's the explanation for it. So, when you look out in space right now, to the farthest regions of space that we could see, the observable universe being 96 billion light years across, that there's these things called large structures of super galaxies. They're clusters of super galaxies. So, meaning that there's these clusters of galaxies, and those clusters in themselves make up these large structures. These large structures seem to be moving in unison in what seems to be like an orbit. So, if the Big Bang happened, right? That's an if. It's just a theory. The actual universe would be the size of Pluto, and the observable universe would be the size of a light bulb. So that's the relative difference between what we can see and what actually exists. What else? Okay. Like I said, I've said in the other video, the movement of the galaxies, and that we've observed for like the last, say, 60 years, like with modern scientific equipment. So we see the galaxy move over 60 years, and we extrapolate that line of movement, saying that, oh, it's coming from somewhere, instead of orbiting something. So that's how we explain or go all the way back to the Big Bang, if it happened. Like I said, if the other things if these large structures of super galaxies, super clusters, turns out to be proof that there's just a giant orbit going on, and that the galaxies are not moving away from the center of the universe, and instead they're orbiting it. That could be proof that the universe has always existed and that there was no beginning. Maybe. Anyways, so like I said, 60 years of observation with modern scientific equipment. If you equate 1 year to 1 second, meaning that 1 minute of observation would be the equivalent of 60 years. If you look at your window for 1 minute, then you would have to explain where everything was 825 years ago. That's what modern science is doing. They're taking those 60 years of observation and trying to explain where everything was 26 billion years ago. That's the analogy. So, like I said, I don't really believe that the many worlds theory is wrong. It's just that it's been done, or the math equations are being done backwards, the physics equations. Like my counter is what I call the isolation of reality theory, which I'll make another video on, or I made another video on. Schrodinger's cat. Okay. This is also used to prove that, there's more than one reality in existence. I don't think that's what it is. So you have two possibilities. The cat's alive or the cat's dead. And you have to open the box to see the reality. That's not proof. I mean, there's proof of the quantum state, but it's also proof that you go from the quantum state to reality, not from reality to the quantum state. Meaning that we're not creating multiple realities. We're eliminating multiple realities and experiencing the one reality. Okay, I guess I'll go. Namaste. Good night. And like, share, and subscribe.